internet. I am Insane Lane as well as a Canadian girl, and we have another body cam. Today it is road raging duo threatens police gets instant karma. I downloaded this over a week ago, so I don't remember it at all. Not that I watched the whole thing, but obviously there was something worth reacting to, so let's see what it is. It's a fairly short video.
After two suspects brake check a car and cause a crash, they now focus their rage on the officer.
All right, Miss. Unfortunately, you are going to be found at fault for the crash. All right. I know you're from Georgia. Generally, laws are the same everywhere. That's why you can go from here to Florida. Speed limit signs look the same, you know. So in the state of Florida, if you're in a merge lane, someone's in the straight-through lane, they have the right of way, which means it doesn't matter if he sped up. You slow down and you get behind them. The fact that you sped up and crossed over,
they cut somebody off.
We were saying the same speed.
What did he say? You said no. So even if you did that, you don't do that.
Okay,
don't
make threats.
Better just be quiet.
I have freedom of speech.
No, that's a threat. That is a threat. I tell you what. Hold this.
Okay.
You resist, you will get tased. I'm telling you that.
Okay, that escalated quickly. We're 52 seconds in and somebody's getting arrested. Did the guy make a threat? Borderline. Because I think what he... Let's listen again to exactly what this guy said.
What did he say? You said okay. No. So even if you did that, you don't do that because I will arrest you. Next word out of your mouth, better just be quiet.
Okay,
that's a threat.
No.
That is a threat. I tell you what.
Not exactly. Okay, does that amount to a threat? I don't know. I think you'd have to get into the real nuances of the law to say if it does. Because he was saying, like, oh, if the guy is going to impound the car, then I was going to, wail on him. But the car's not being impounded. I don't really see the officer needing to take action here. I understand his position. And the cop is not in the wrong here. But, like, come on. We don't have to be petty. We can let this go. And I would have let it go on. If the guy kept saying things like that, if he kept saying it, then yes, arrest him. But I think he can let that go because he was not making a direct threat. He was like, talking in an offhand kind of way. Though, to be clear, what they're saying about freedom of speech does have limitations, i.e. you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, nor can you make threats. So that's an exception to the free speech rules.
So put your hands behind your back. Nope. You resist, you will get tased. I'm telling you that right now. Put your hands behind your back.
Okay,
send me another unit.
Okay, so now we have, okay, so this is the place where we have community service officers. I don't really understand all the different types of police.
Sorry.
Okay, so now the other officer can hear that this is getting loud, so they're coming over to help.
Stop. Put your hands behind your back now. Put your hands behind your back or you're going to get tased.
I'm not a fan of ever threatening someone with a taser like that, ever.
Stop resisting.
But the guy is absolutely...
I don't care.
What's your name and badge number?
What's your name and badge number, huh? Turn around. Huh?
You have every right to file a complaint, but you're still under arrest.
I wish you would. Please.
Okay, so the person they brake checked is leaving. They're okay.
Okay. And do what?
No,
Are you threatening me? I think I wish you would. Okay. I wish you would take
that's not a threat.
I wish you would.
What's your name and badge number?
Like, this cop is honestly being overzealous, and he's, he's pushing the definition of what a threat is.
Lucas 2031.
You just told me you did that. I hope you have that on recording. Oh, I do. Oh, I hope you do. Okay. Man, I wish you'd take off that goddamn belt, boy. Keep threatening, another charge.
That's not threatening. Okay, I'm sorry. The officer arresting, can somebody sit him down and explain what threatening is? Because saying, I wish you'd take that belt off, I'm sorry, that's not a threat. I understand what the guy is saying. He's saying, take the belt off, take the badge off. Let's throw down like men, have a punch out. That's not a threat. So, as much as this guy is, he's being a little aggro, the guy getting arrested, I'm sorry, the cop's out of line. I think he's way out of line, and the fact that he keeps saying, oh, that's a threat, dude, you need to go back to school and learn what a threat is, because you're wrong.
It's a freedom of speech, sir.
It's not freedom of
speech. It is a First Amendment right.
Go over there now.
Yeah, this is a cop who just wants to throw his weight around.
Yes, you are.
Oh, God, for what?
This is purely you ticked me off and I'm gonna ruin your life.
Touch me one more time, and I'm gonna have your whole department.
You're so overwhelmed, my guy. You're so overwhelmed.
Yes.
That's it. That's it, Mama. We're calling a fucking lawyer.
Yeah, call a lawyer. You're gonna need one.
I know.
You're going to jail.
No.
You
Why?
are under arrest.
I have money.
Turn around, put that- I don't care.
Okay, what are you arresting her for? Can I also point out this is the second time in under 3 minutes this cop's body cam has fallen off? What is it attached with? Chewing gum? Like, seriously, how did the camera even, like, fall off? It was... But also, what is he arresting her for? I know it looked like he, like, shoved her back, so maybe, like, obstructing or something, but... Seriously, this cop is just being a... He's being incredibly petty. This is utterly ridiculous. This is him arresting two people because he didn't like that he didn't get the deference or the respect he feels he deserves. This is absolutely the definition of being arrested for, what is the acronym? POP, and I believe it stands for pissed off police. This is a prime example of that. This cop's just absolutely way out of control, and nothing but his ego has been offended here.
Are you gonna give him 1033? Thousands of signatures in motherfucking car? No, he's not. Mama? Find the back. Mama?
Different audience, 11 Alpha, 10 Airport,
I'm going
Oh,
for
they're
this.
calling you.
Okay, officer, I need an explanation here. This is where he's saying he's arresting her for resisting arrest. Please explain that to me. Again, I'm not American, I'm not a lawyer. If you can explain this in a reasonable way that makes sense and doesn't make my head explode, please explain to me how you can get arrested for resisting arrest. What were you arresting her for in the first place when she allegedly resisted arrest, officer? If you can't answer that in front of a judge, you look like a joke. In this case, this cop is a joke. This is the worst kind of policing right now. It's utterly ridiculous. It's purely out of ego, and it's purely out of, I don't like your face, and I have the authority to arrest you, and therefore I'm going to blatantly abuse that authority and arrest you purely because I can, and I don't like what you had to say. We don't even know what the circumstances of this accident were. Like, the cop said they were at fault. It sounds like they were. They failed to yield when they were coming out of a merge lane. It doesn't matter that the guy in the other lane went faster. You don't speed up to cut him off or go ahead of him and then brake check him. I know people do that. Please don't do that. It's ridiculous. Like, you're not going anywhere that's so important that, like, the 1 second you save drive time is going to make, like, a difference, okay? Just slow down. Let the other person go ahead. It's not a big deal. But no, they get an offender bender, and then, you know, and then all of this for absolutely no reason. No reason for this.
Cannot, that is my property.
He's attending the second white female.
Oh, so I guess that's mom on the phone. I hope so. Okay, now we have more cops. Yeah, I'm guessing they can't transport two people in the same car. That's usually the rule.
So the driver,
good
or
reason.
the passenger that's in my car starts threatening the passenger over here, or the driver of this car.
Yeah.
So I say, hey, man, you can't make a threat right in front of me. All right, so now you're gonna go to jail for threatening him. Go to put him in handcuffs.
Okay, so the cop is.
Beat my ass if the badge comes off. Okay, so now you're both gonna go. Detain.
Okay, I'm sorry, officer, but you're embellishing. I guess the cop is saying when he said, like, oh, I was gonna beat his ass the first time, that I guess the cop is saying he was threatening the other driver. That's a stretch. It's a real stretch. And now he's saying the guy threatened to beat him. And I'm like, no, he didn't. He told you to take your badge off, like offering you the opportunity for a fight. But he didn't say he was going to beat the crap out of this cop. He didn't say that. So I could see this whole thing being dismissed because it's ridiculous, honestly.
And then put him in the car. She reaches in, tries to get a cigarette, tell her to get back. She reaches in twice. Now she's going for resistance.
Okay.
Let me get a female unit.
Okay, I'm still having problems with him saying she's going for resisting, because if she was, I guess, reaching into the car or like reaching into the guy's pockets as he's getting arrested, that would be interfering with the arrest. That's obstruction, I believe it's usually called. So that is cause for arrest. The cop definitely has cause if that happened, and we saw it. She was leaning in. We saw him push her back, so I think he's right about that. But he's only saying, I'm arresting her for resisting arrest. Like, please leave in the comments if you find that as confusing and utterly absurd as I do, that she's going to jail for resisting arrest without him saying, oh, she was originally under arrest. I was arresting her for obstructing. I was arresting her for interfering, at which time she resisted arrest, and that's an additional charge. If you can't articulate that, you have a problem. At least in any kind of like logic, if you understand English, you have a problem there. Like, I know the cop's legally in the right. It's just really, it sounds weird and it's confusing.
And then we'll do that.
And also, it sounds like he has cause. So if you have a real reason to arrest her,
I've been on the phone the entire time, heard everything.
like, if you have a real reason to arrest her, then do. And it
She
sounds
got a
like he
dog in the
does.
car, we'll give it to the pound.
Oh, there's a dog?
All right.
Aww.
Your dog's going to the Seminole County Pound, all right? Your car is going to be towed, and you are going to jail for resisting. You have any questions? Okay, have a day. What? No, not when you threaten me.
Dude, I didn't even
Nobody
threaten you.
threatened
I have
you.
the badge.
Okay.
That's on everything, man.
This cop's a punk.
Nope, you cannot. You're an arrestee. You don't have the right. You can call him when you get out of jail.
Job over this, bro.
You broke the law. You broke the law. You have the right
No.
to say anything you say will be used in court as evidence against you. You have
Oh,
right
now
to an
you're-
attorney now. You have the
Okay,
right
so
to
you're
have an
reading him
attorney
his rights,
present
meaning you
throughout
intend to
questions.
question
If you
him.
refuse to answer question, all questioning will be stopped. So that means you can be quiet now or keep talking.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to.
All right.
I hope the guy's going to be quiet, because if they're reading you your rights, the only words you want to say are lawyer now. And don't say another word, and never listen to a cop if they're saying I can make some kind of deal with you, because if you're at the point of you've been arrested, the cops don't have the power to make any kind of deal. They will say that they do, but they don't. They can't promise you anything in terms of charges or sentencing. They can decide what they're initially charging you with. That is their discretion. However, once you're past that point and they've read you your rights and they're asking if you want a lawyer, the answer is yes, I want a lawyer. And then shut your mouth. Just entirely shut your mouth. Because, again, I think a halfway decent lawyer could definitely get these two out of it. Because the guy didn't do what he's being accused of, in my opinion. She did. But she's not being arrested for obstruction or interfering. She's being arrested for resisting, which is a joke. So, yeah, this is just a case of the officer being ticked off and throwing his weight around. But I hope this guy is smart enough to shut his mouth. I feel bad for the dog.
Okay. You already released the other guy?
Huh?
The other driver, you already released him?
Yeah.
Okay.
He already left.
That's fine.
He got nervous. He's like, can
Yeah, I can understand, bro. You're not going to threaten somebody right in front of me.
He did. He threatened them.
But he
No,
was here
he
when that
didn't.
happened.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why he left. Okay.
Yeah. He got very nervous. He's like, I gotta go.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I'm pretty. So she's pissed off, determined she's at fault. The other driver's in the straight through lane. They merged over, cut him off.
Brake checked him and he hit him.
Brake checking. You're at fault. He has the right of way. It's his lane.
Yeah, absolutely
Slow
sounds
down
like
and get
they are
behind
at
her.
fault for the
Yeah.
accident. No
And then
disagreement
you slam
there.
your brakes in front of him. You're at fault. So I'm
Yep.
explaining that to her. He gets all amped up and starts threatening homeboy in front of me. I'm like, yo, man.
That's
chill
not
out.
what
No, I'm not
happened.
upset. Okay, well then you can go to jail. I have no issues writing this report. So I go to put him in cuffs. He resists. Then tells me to take off my.
He
badge and
absolutely
sit
did
down. I'm not
resist. That's
fighting words
true.
for law, so you can go to jail. So.
Oh, they
I'm
have
gonna
a
go ahead and
fighting
take him.
words law?
Animal control coming for the.
I mean,
Okay, wait. Okay, this explains some things. I've only vaguely heard about this. But I know in some places there is something called like fighting words law, which is where if you like challenge somebody to a fight or say like I want to fight you, or in this case the cop is saying it applies to like take off your badge, I think is what he's saying. You can get charged for that. It's some kind of like threatening, menacing, or like intent to commit assault somewhere in there. It's a very weird law from what very, very little I know about it. let me do a spot of quick research here. Okay, doing some quick research. We're in Florida here. So according to Google, in Florida, fighting words are words that are likely to incite an immediate breach of the peace or cause injury. So I think what it means is like by saying like take off your badge, take off your belt, he's trying to incite a fight, which would be breach of the peace, and therefore that appears to be some level of a crime. It says there are exceptions to the general rule that speech alone is not enough to support a conviction for disorderly conduct. So this seems like a very gray area law to me. It sounds very vague. It goes on to say, here are some examples of fighting words in Florida, and it specifies words that are known to be false and create a clear and present danger of bodily harm to others. For example, shouting fire in a crowded theater. Classic example. It also says words that are likely to cause an average person to fight. I don't think the cop can apply that to himself then. Because it says average person, and a police officer is, when acting in a professional capacity, he's on duty. He's not an average person. He's not an ordinary citizen. He's a member of law enforcement. So even though you can say, like, let's throw down right now, let's go, man, the cop is not going to do that. Like, and he's trained to be professional, so he's not gonna be, again, I'm going by the reading of this. I'm trying to interpret it through the lens of this law. A cop is not going to be incited to violence because somebody says, hey, let's fight. So I'm not sure that even applies to the cop, if he can apply that to himself. He's, I guess, saying that when he said he was going to beat the bleep out of the driver if his car got towed, I guess he's calling that fighting words, but the driver didn't even hear that. And as I said, I don't think that amounts to threatening. I don't see where that's fighting words either, so I'm still not sure. It also says other behaviors that may be considered disorderly conduct include yelling, cursing, making obscene gestures, and actually fighting. A law enforcement officer has the right to arrest someone for disorderly conduct, of course, even if they are not breaking any other laws. Fair. However, words alone are generally not enough to sustain a conviction. So I think I'm right about this, that this would probably most likely get tossed out in court because all this cop has is the guy saying like 2 sentences, one of which I don't think, again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just reading this and interpreting it as best I can on the fly. But I don't think him challenging the cop to a fight amounts to fighting words because the cop is not an average person. Also, there's rules on like when any police officer, any law enforcement officer at any level, when they can be the victims of a crime, there's a lot of times where they cannot have themselves as the victim of the crime because that's not why they're there. It's more complex than that, but this could be one of those. Yeah, I really think I'm sticking to my guns here. This cop is overreaching. I think he's applying this law in like an overly broad and improper way. And again, he had cause to arrest her for obstruction, and yet he's not doing that. So that makes me suspicious of like his motives. And I think this is a training issue. I think this cop needs a lot more training, and he needs to chill out, honestly. Because he overreacted from the beginning and then just continued overreacting. But we'll see. We still got like 3 minutes of this left, so let's see if anything changes my mind. We have this other officer here who's the community. Did it say community services officer? I'm not sure in what way that differs from the cop that she's speaking to. I'm not sure if they're at the same level of authority. Is what I'm saying.
Even asked you.
And then I think her car's running.
Yeah, well, the dog's in there, so I'm good with that.
Poor puppy.
No, you're good, bro. So it started off as a traffic crash.
Why are there's now 4
driving because he got out and started beating on the guy's
4 cops
window,
here for this, 4
whatever.
police
She said
vehicles.
She was driving because he don't have a license. They're in the merge lane. There's a driver.
Also, are they all alone?
Half a car lengths about ahead of them. They try to fly forward and pass him. Wind up getting clipped on their passenger right side. Okay, so you're at fault. You should have tried to pass the guy. He has the right way. It's a straight lane. There's no. He doesn't have any yield signs. Fast forward, explaining to them that they're at fault. He gets pissed off, starts threatening the other driver as I'm standing. I'm like, bro, you can't do that in front of me. Oh, no. Okay, then you can just go to jail. So I go to detain him, starts resisting. I don't know who the hell he is. I don't know who he works for. I don't care. Finally get him detained after pulling out the taser and pointing it at him. As I'm putting him in the back of the car, she reaches in. I'm like, yo, get back. She reaches in again and tries to grab the cigarettes or something. I don't know what the hell she's doing. But she's reaching in, like coming down by my left leg. I'm like, all right, nope, now you're going to go for resisting. So, whatever. We're just waiting on our female sergeant.
Okay, but again,
Put you in
well,
my car, you gonna be calm?
like she wasn't doing resisting with what you said.
When I got into an accident, my shoulder.
I'll see the guy with the back.
Like her reaching in to grab cigarettes off him is not resisting, officer. You're using the wrong word.
We're giving it to animal control. Unless your mother lives nearby, I'm willing to turn it over to her.
Yeah, be nice to the doggy.
And she's like, I don't know why people think, like, I don't care about you recording. It's not a big deal. Record, but keep your distance. Especially when I'm detaining somebody. And then you're going to reach
Yes,
in
she should
on my
have.
leg twice after I just told you to back up. Hey, Sarge. So we got one over there. The female's right here.
Man, they're just bringing everybody out.
Just going to do a search on you. Just face the car.
I applaud them for getting a female to search a female. Thank
And while she's
you.
doing that, does your mother live nearby where she can come get the dog?
I'm not talking to you, but I'll talk to another officer.
Okay, then the dog can go to the pound.
Okay,
Do you have any?
I'm sorry. Officer, you're officially a jerk. Like, one, don't punish a dog for the owners being stupid. And two, again, I've said this on other videos. If somebody says that, put your damn ego aside. It's ridiculous. And I don't care that he's the arresting officer. There's literally 5 other cops there. Let her talk to one of them and give the information about the mother so she can take the dog. The only reason this cop's being a jerk and being like, okay, the dog can go to the pound, is because, again, he's offended. He doesn't like that she's telling him to take a flying leap because he arrested her for a BS reason, even though he had a real reason. And so he's just going to retaliate. Like, this is ridiculous. And the person doing the pat down is a sergeant, and she's apparently just fine with this. Like, these cops are not impressing me. Not saying this couple is impressing me. They're not. Okay? I'm not making excuses for their behavior. She absolutely has a reason to be arrested. The guy, I don't think the cop initially had a reason, but did he then resist? Yes, he did. Did she resist arrest once he started arresting her? Yes, but even though he had a reason to arrest her in the first place, the cop himself doesn't seem to be aware of that. Like, this is such a joke. Everybody looks bad here. Everybody.
About near where somebody can get your dog. My mother-in-law is in St. Petersburg, Florida. So nobody close.
Nobody
No, but we can
Okay, so I guess that's not
within the next 30 minutes?
near where they are.
We're not going to stay here for 30 minutes.
Before the
Like-
tow truck gets here?
Will I get the address of where
He'll
he's
be
gonna be at?
that is right
Right
next to
outside the jail.
it's right next to you can literally throw a piece of paper
Let
over
me
it.
go check on
Okay.
that.
No, that's
Oh,
fine.
okay, so their pound is next to the jail. That's at least convenient.
Okay. Do you mind loosening them a little bit? Sorry, it's my first time ever being arrested, so I'm not used to this. There's time for everything, right? What was the last time?
Yeah,
So
me
tell
too.
me about it.
Have a seat.
Okay, thank you.
86, just walk over here with me. Do me a favor, step out.
I already know. Come on. Grab some help, man. Oh, I ain't gonna do nothing stupid. You already know.
Well, I
Girl,
don't
come
think you
on.
will.
Come on.
I'm just making sure your cuffs are not tight. I can literally get 3 fingers in there. By policy, all I have to do is be able to get my thumb in there.
All right,
You see that, right? Thumb.
I got you.
That's
thumb, 3
already
fingers.
like,
You don't have anything illegal on you, right?
No, I should. Maybe up my ass, but no.
I'll let the
hey,
jail do
dude,
it.
don't say stuff like
Alright,
that. Don't make things worse.
Thanks, Sarge.
Get a lawyer.
Ma'am, all right. Hey, sweetie.
Ooh, their car got like
Hi.
damaged.
Hi, as I go popping.
I think they're missing like a panel there.
It's okay.
I want to see the doggy. Oh, look at it. Oh, it's a baby. Oh my god, I want the
So you
dog.
guys, thank you.
It's a baby. I want the doggy.
It's a good little puppy.
I want it. Oh, it's so
He's
cute.
happy. He got attention now.
Yes, it's
Do you
happy.
know how
The
long,
tail's
like, how
going.
long that they were
The
in,
dog's
like,
just like, I'm getting
has he
loved.
been in the car for a while or
I'm
anything?
getting loved.
Well, because we
I'm
were
a happy
walking around,
dog.
so maybe about an hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
Aw.
Okay, no worries.
And here's my
Yeah, can we get the doggy
Perfect.
some
Thank
water?
you guys very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So cute.
The male was charged with simple assault, intentional threat of violence, and simple assault on a peace officer. The female was charged with resisting. They are innocent unless proven guilty in a court of
In a court of law. Hold on. We got to break this down. How is he getting charged with assault in the first place? Assault on the officer, I didn't see that. I saw resisting arrest, definitely. I didn't see him assault the officer. As for simple assault, is that how the fighting words thing gets written up? Because I didn't see the guy assault anybody, unless there's, I'm sorry, does brake checking maybe count? Is that what they're saying? That like he used the car to assault the other driver? Maybe? I'm hella confused. Okay, this one does my head in, okay? I'm so confused with all of this, and I know it's Florida, so that goes with the territory. But, holy hell. There's so much wrong with all of this. Like, first cop, you need to go back to school. You get a D. Your ego is rampantly out of control. You just arrested 2 people for no other reason than they pissed you off personally. So, yeah, he goes all the way to the bottom of the grades, and somebody needs to yank his leash very hard. As for the only other comp I'm going to grade is the sergeant who showed up to do the pat down. Big A+ for having a female officer arrive to pat down a female suspect. That is what should happen every time. I know that's not a legal right in America, but it is what should happen, and it needs to happen more because we all need to respect each other a lot more. And for a woman being like patted down, especially because like, please don't ever tell me it's not intimate. Of course it is. So yeah, you should always have the option of have as a female or as somebody who might request a female to do a pat down for various reasons. That should always be an option. So big A+ for doing that. The sergeant then loses a grade. She's going down to a B+ because when the other officer was being a jerk about the dog, she should have like said something. Now, she did try to like get the information, but they didn't have anyone close. So hopefully the dog is okay. Hopefully they got the dog back. I'm more worried about the dog than anybody else in this situation. But I feel like with off of that body cam, a decent lawyer could have gotten these charges dropped. As for her being arrested for resisting and resisting alone, I always think when resisting's the only charge, it's a joke because you can't resist arrest until you're being arrested. So what are you being arrested for in the first place? And again, this is where this cop doesn't make sense to me. He had a legit reason to arrest her. She was interfering with him arresting the first guy. He completely had a legitimate reason. So why isn't she charged with that? Like, I really want to hear this cop explaining himself in a courtroom. I don't think it would go very well for him at all. So he gets a D, sergeant gets a B+. Should we grade the couple? They'd clock in at about a B+ probably. As for the title, we didn't see road rage. I mean, I guess it is when you won't let somebody get ahead of you and then you brake check them. I guess that is road rage. We've certainly seen worse. But as for them threatening the police, what a joke. And this cop isn't, the first cop is an absolute joke. Absolute joke. Utterly ridiculous. This whole situation was just a complete farce. And like I said, everybody looks bad. Nobody's coming out looking particularly good here. But as for like the charges and the procedure of it, wow, what a circus. That's just my thought. Feel free to agree or disagree. And please, always leave your thoughts in the comments. You want to call me every name in the book and think I'm a joke? Let me know. I want to hear it. If you agree with me, I want to hear it. Do you like the dog? Do you have a dog like that? Or any pets? Always leave info on the pets. We love pets here. But that's going to do it for this video. I've been Insane Lane as well as a Canadian girl. If you're new, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.